And we are live. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast. My name is Jay Angel, and I'm going to be your host for this evening. Tonight, I have it's an honor to have this guy on. This guy lives his life to do auctions to help people, and he has helped a lot of people. People that he's associated with helped me after Hurricane Ida, and I'm going to be forever grateful for that. So, without further ado, I give you Steve Greathouse of
Good
House
evening,
Greathouse
everybody.
Customs. How you doing tonight, Steve?
Doing all right, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for asking, man. So why don't we just jump right into this and give us a little background on your auctions?
Well, the auctions I'm doing, I've got a couple coming up, and therefore one of them's for Jay Fouts. He's got lung cancer that he's battling, and he had to come up with $10,000, which is his 20% of the medical expenses, which is a chunk for anybody.
$10,000 is 20%, man. That's wow.
Oh yeah. Well, cancer,
yeah,
anything like that's not cheap.
No, yeah. I think I don't know if you heard, but I had my aorta replaced this last year, and it cost more than that.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So I've fished with Jay. Jay's a good guy. He actually is one of the founders of Bass Slingers, and he never asked for help, not from me personally, and so I thought I'd jump in and try to help him if I could. And this will actually be the second auction that I've done for him, and I've got a lot of sponsors that have actually stepped up and donated over and over stuff to help him out. So,
well, that's fantastic. What kind of things are you going to be auctioning off?
The first time it was actually mostly baits, and I donated a couple of rods. I started making rods about a year or so ago, and I donated a couple of custom rods. But I've got some stuff I can show you.
Yeah, that would be great, Steve.
Like I say, most of it's baits, and they're all custom made baits, or most of them. I'll have to unwrap some of this stuff here, but stuff like that.
Oh my goodness, look at that. That's definitely is a custom bait. Look at that bluegill, man.
And that's from R.M. Ward. He painted that and sent me. In fact, he sent several baits, and he sent some before, and he's going to send some more. Then we got, here's a big one. This we were talking about this guy. That's says Kagan Crew, but it's Cajun Crew, and that's his peacock bass.
Woo! Looks like something you'd use in the state of Florida for some.
Yeah, big swim bait.
That Dave Mercer would call giant.
Yeah, and then we got some stuff from Lure Build, another swim bait.
Ooh, look at that!
I mean, we got some nice stuff.
You sure do.
I'll show you a couple more. I don't know how good you can see them in the plastic, but this stuff's from Cody Malik of, well, I better not say the name of the company. It's a little, might offend somebody. But yeah, he just paints everything. So I've got almost 50 baits for the auction, and that'll be February 5th.
February 5th. At what time, Steve?
Start at 11 a.m. Central.
11 a.m. Central. And where is that auction going to take place online?
That will be on the Fishing Wall of Fame.
Fishing Wall of Fame. I have been on that Facebook group. I'm a member there.
Well, good to have you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I've got about 50 baits now, and there's actually some more coming still. So
interesting. And also, you got a couple of rods too, don't you?
I'm not going to have any rods this time.
Okay.
I did have rods last time, but I don't have time to build any.
Well, that definitely is labor intensive.
So, but there's that auction for Jay, and then I'll have another one either the last Saturday in February or the first Saturday in March, and that'll be for Wayne Carlson.
Okay, why don't you explain Wayne Carlson to us?
Wayne Carlson is, I've never met him personally, but I consider him a good friend. I met him on Facebook, and he's been very generous, not only to me and to others, but he recently had a stroke.
Ooh.
They caught it in time, so he's doing real good, but he did lose some vision in his left eye, and they're still working out exactly everything that all the problems that it caused and how it looks as far as long-term or not.
Okay.
And so I'm going to have the same type of auction for him to help with some of his medical bills as well. And I don't have much in for that auction yet, and that's why the date's so far out. But I've got several that have stepped up and offered, so I'm just waiting on stuff for that auction.
And then it will also take place in the Fishing Hall of Fame?
Yes, sir. The Fishing Wall of Fame.
Wall, geez, I got that wrong. Guys, do not go to the Fishing Hall of Fame. Go to the Fishing Wall of Fame.
And the Fishing Wall of Fame is a group I started about a year or so ago, a little over a year ago. And it's mostly bait painters, soft plastic makers, rod builders, that kind of stuff, to kind of highlight their stuff. And a lot of those guys have stepped up to help me with this fundraising.
Okay, Cajun Rob, which is my friend Rob Welsh, he wanted to say, hey, Steve, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, Rob. How you doing, sir?
And Rob, what we're talking about here is a couple of fundraisers that Steve's going to be doing. One of them's going to be for Jay Fouts. Another one for, what's the second guy's name again?
Wayne Carlson.
Wayne Carlson.
Jay's out of Texas, and Wayne is out of North Carolina.
Okay. And why don't you give us the date on that first one again?
The date for the first one for Jay is February 5th, Saturday.
Because I know Rob is a huge fan of crankbaits. So.
Oh yeah, Rob. I remember seeing him a lot in the first one.
Yeah, he's a huge fan of crankbaits. So I'm sure you're going to see him there.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you're going to see him there. Anything else you'd like to say about these fundraisers?
I can use all the help I can get.
There you go. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, not only donation wise, but to step up and bid on the items that have been donated. I think we got the first auction. I helped raise $3,000, and he's still short somewhere in that amount to help him pay the whole 10,000. So I'm calling this the take him over the top benefit.
And guys, that's paying for the actual surgery, because I had major surgery last year. I mean, major surgery. You're talking months of recovery because they're going to have to open up his ribs. My left side of my body, they had to separate the ribs. And I'm sure they got to do the same thing for lung cancer surgery. And once those ribs are separated, you're talking a year of incredible pain.
Yeah.
And the first thing you feel in the morning is the pain. And then the last thing you feel before you go to sleep is the pain. And for however many hours you're up, you're going to feel nothing but the pain. Sometimes it wakes you up at night. And you don't want to take opioids because then you're going to turn into a monster. Ugh.
Yeah.
Help this guy out, because that's just the beginning of the expenses.
Let me stop you for just a second. They actually aren't going to have to do surgery. They said they can't, but they did chemo. They're doing chemo now, and I might have this wrong. They've done two different things: chemo and radiation, I think.
Yep.
And
still, chemo is it's a long process, and it's incredibly painful. It's incredibly expensive.
Oh yeah, but it is helping.
Good. Thank God. Thank God.
So,
all I have to say is thank God for that.
I just want to try to help take some of the mental stress off of him by helping pay the money that he was worried about.
Well, you know, and also it's not just that upfront money that you have to pay, but then you're going to be missing a whole lot of work.
Oh yeah.
It's a very stressful thing, man. You know, thank God they don't have to open them up like they did me. Because the healing process is, when they open your ribs, it's so painfully slow. And you think this is never going to end. So it's very difficult not to get depressed. And I'll tell you what really got me through was fishing. I didn't get to go fishing, but
he said the same thing.
Thinking about fishing, talking to people like you about fishing would take my mind off it for just 15 minutes.
Yep. That's exactly what he said.
If I could take my mind, you know, it's starting to get better now, but if I could talk to somebody and, yeah, dude, I'll take you fishing after you get better. Please. Yes, I will. And man, that meant the world to me, and it still does.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you, the fishing community is, for the most part, very generous. They'll talk to you anytime, day or night, and they're always willing to step up and help.
Well, Steve, that's why you're on my podcast now.
Well, I sure appreciate you having me.
I want to promote people like you, and as ambassadors of this sport that I love so much. You know, I don't even know how to put that to words. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Cajun Rob has another comment. He says Steve also makes some rods that are a work of art as well.
Well,
that's what Rob Welsh just said to you.
I appreciate that, Rob. I'm just learning. I'm getting better every time. And I mean, they catch fish. There's nothing like throwing a bait that you painted on a rod that you built and actually catching fish.
Oh yeah. I'm sure of that.
So yeah, I enjoy it. I'm not sure how much my wife enjoys it, but
she likes seeing her husband happy.
Well, that's true.
You know, I know why you said that, because every wife I've ever had has told me I fish too much, except for my current one.
Is that why the current part?
My current wife just likes the fact that I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
But it took me 2 tries to get her. The third try, it actually worked out.
Well, that's good. But yeah, the auctions help. So like I say, if anybody that they can message me, get a hold of me, I'll give them my phone number. I'll talk to them on the phone. And the biggest thing I stipulate is that when I do these auctions, I never see any money. That money goes directly to Jay or to Wayne. I'll never have anything to do with it other than raising it.
That's yes. I'm glad you brought that up. That's fantastic.
I thought about it really hard, and I wanted to make sure that there was no chance of somebody possibly saying I was doing something out of the way. And that way, I mean, I'm open. Anybody wants to know what I did at the auctions, I'll show them numbers or anything, because I want them to know that I am there to help. I'm not there to help me. I'm there to help the people that I'm doing the auction for.
I like that. You know, avoid even the appearance of impropriety.
Yes, sir. And when I did one for Jay, he worked with me. He showed me screenshots of the payments so I know who paid, and then I shipped the stuff after it was paid for. And the first one, I actually had a couple people that stepped up and paid all the shipping, but that's not always a given. So the shipping will be on top of the price. I mean, whatever you bid and win, you'll have to pay the shipping, but I do it as cheaply as possible. So we don't add a whole lot to it.
Well, if you buy something from Bass Pro Shops, you pay the shipping. Bass Pro Shops doesn't pay the shipping.
Exactly. And like I say, I do it as reasonably as possible without, I don't make any money on the shipping, put it that way.
Okay. Okay. So you live in Missouri, don't you?
Yes, sir. Live in the Ozarks.
Live in the Ozarks. So do you live in northern Missouri then?
Kind of central. I'm about 120 miles southwest of St. Louis, and
Southwest.
about the same amount from the Kansas line.
Okay. Missouri's a big state, yeah.
But yeah, wow. I live. We've actually got some really nice rivers. I like living here because we've got several spring-fed rivers, and I mean, 15, 20 feet, they're as clear as can be.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, I like living where I do.
Wow. So you catch smallmouth bass in these rivers?
Yeah, in fact, I live about 2 miles from the Big Piney River, and it used to be one of the best for smallmouth, and you can still catch some nice ones in it. And I floated every once in a while and catch decent smallmouth. I'm catch and release, so I don't keep anything, and they limit lengths, so they're trying to make bigger fish.
Sure. So fly fishing or spinning?
Well, if I'm floating in a canoe and fishing, I use the spinning reel. And if I want to go trout fishing, I live about 25 minutes from Montauk State Park, which is they got a hatchery for trout, and the river runs through there. And then I can go down there and fly fish if I want to.
And what kind of trout do you catch there?
They got a lot of rainbows because that's what they usually raise, but there's some nice browns.
Ooh, I've caught huge rainbows and huge browns. I mean, I fished the Great Lakes for browns.
Yeah.
Particularly in the wintertime. After deer hunting season was over, I'd go to the Great Lakes and.
Yeah, these are smaller browns, but they're fighting. I mean, and you can tell when you hook even a little brown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll come right up out of the water fighting you.
The cool thing about Great Lakes browns, they look like footballs. A 24-inch brown is probably going to be. Yeah, you can't see that in this. Probably going to be almost.
I was going to say they're probably shaped more like a smallmouth.
Yeah, they're footballs, man. They're just footballs. It's so much fun. When I lived up in Alaska, I caught a steelhead, which is a lake or a sea run rainbow trout. I caught them up to 18 pounds. Just,
yeah,
incredible fish. I caught that on fly fishing in a small stream, and when you hook into a big old rainbow steelhead, and he doesn't have anywhere to go because it's only 2 feet of water, just straight up. They do 2 backflips, so then they take off 100 yards down the. Oh, it's so much fun! So much fun.
I understand. No, I love fishing, and I love it for that. I mean, I tend to use lighter equipment than typical because I like the fight.
Oh yeah. Up until the time I started fishing tournaments and guiding, yeah, that's exactly. 4-pound test was about the only line I would use.
Yeah, I'd like to get in some online tournaments. Maybe this year, we'll see. But other than that, I just fish for fun.
Oh yeah. I think I might have to just hang up the competitive fishing. After the health problems I had in the last year, just fish for fun.
Yeah. Either way. Some say when you're doing competitive, it takes a lot of the fun out of it, but not from what I've seen.
I don't think it takes the fun out of it. I think it redefines fun because it's pure adrenaline to me. It was just
I was gonna say it's still fun. It's a different kind of fun.
It's just pure adrenaline, and when the the current director, he tells all boats dead in the water, and everybody's just sitting there, and you say your prayer, then you do the national anthem, and then he starts calling out boat numbers, and you hear those boats revving up as they're going.
Off to the races.
Oh yeah, I'd sit there and hold on to my seat because I was co-angling.
Yeah.
Just sit there, just so excited about what the day's going to bring.
Yeah, and you just never know. That's the thing about it. I mean, you just never know.
Well, that's where the addiction comes in, Steve.
Yep. That's why the old saying, that's why they call it fishing, not catching.
Yeah, my dad used to tell me that when I was young. No, Dad, I go catching. He looked at me and goes, "No, I fished with you. You go fishing." He always had a way of bringing me back down to reality.
Yeah.
So tell me about this Facebook group, the Greathouse Customs.
It's something I just started. I've been painting baits for a while, and I was just painting them to use, and I give away some, and I wasn't very good at the beginning. And everybody said, keep your first one because you'll look back in a year and see the difference. And I finally got decent at it, and actually other people are interested in them now. And then, like I say, I started building rods, so I thought, I need to start something where I can keep all that for me to show. And
Sure.
The name actually came from my mom and dad's. They've used the same name for other than the customs part, but they've used Greathouse for decades. My mom and dad were both crafts people.
Okay.
They made handicrafts and went to shows and sold and stuff like that, and they used that name. Well, my dad passed away a little over 7 years ago.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Then when I decided to do this, I just started the group probably a week or two ago. And so I asked my mom and asked her if I could use that name, and she was more than happy.
I bet she was. I bet she was honored.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Yeah.
And so am I.
I bet you are too. Yes, exactly. That's a good point.
So, yeah, right now I'm basically just showing what I'm making and what I'm doing on that group.
Very good. Very good. Well, why don't you tell the folks again about the two auctions and when they're going to take place and where they can find the auctions and what time?
Okay. The first auction is already set up to happen on the 5th of February. And if you'll go to the Fishing Wall of Fame, there's an events tab at the top. You can actually sign up for it, and that way you'll get notified when it starts. And it will be live, and it usually takes several hours. In fact, the first one I had to do over 2 days because there was way more than I expected. And this one may be the same.
Well,
but that one's, like I say,
it might take 2 days to auction it all off.
Yeah. Usually in the afternoon, late afternoon, I'm using a cell phone for my internet, and it gets kind of busy and the lag gets bad and people are tired and I'm tired. So we after several hours, we went to the second day, and it may be that way this time, depending on how fast it moves along. But again, that's February 5th, and it'll start at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay.
And then the second one for Wayne Carlson is something that just came up. Somebody asked me if I'd be interested in doing something for him. And so I talked to him because I don't want to do something for somebody that doesn't want it.
Sure.
So I talked to him, and a couple of days he talked to his wife and said he even talked to his preacher about it.
Sure.
And excuse me, decided that he'd like to go ahead and get a little help. So I'm going to do an auction for him. I'm waiting on stuff to come in for that, and that's why I've put it off for a month. And it will be either the last Saturday of February or the first Saturday of March. and that's dependent on when I get stuff in. And some people that donate sometimes wait till the last minute.
Sure.
So, but I'll announce it at least a week ahead of time.
Okay.
For sure, you know, a set date. And I'll do the same thing. I'll make it an event, and you can sign up for it and get notified.
Well, that's great. Hey, before we start shout outs, I'd like to tell everybody that's listening in, tomorrow I'm going to have Skylar Hamilton. He's a Bassmaster Elite Pro on. It's going to be same time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So go ahead and tune into that. And we're going to be talking about the Bassmaster Elite Series of 2022 season. But first of all, before that, I'd like to hear if Steve has any shout outs he'd like to do.
Well, I kind of got a list, and this is my sponsors for my auctions. And if I miss anybody, I apologize. I went through them and I think I got them all, but there's always somebody steps up that I didn't count on. So anyway, the first one's John Elwanger of JCW Custom Tackle. Then we've got RM Ward of RM3 Custom Tackle. Gene Gunderson of Cajun Crew. Cody Malik of Cranky Bastards Customs.
I like that.
Yeah, and he spelled it TERDS.
Turds.
And then we got James Gnu of LureBuild.com, Jack Farringer of Wolf Moon Custom Baits, Buddy Olson of Honey Badger Lures, Dan Bullard of Lures by Grampy, Tad Bennett, Greg Packard, Fishing Stencils, 3D Stencils, tailored for tykes and adults, which they do a lot of custom apparel and mugs and that kind of stuff. In fact, that's my daughter-in-law.
Okay.
DB Baits. And then there was several that helped out the first time. My mom did some artwork. My sister oil painted a couple paintings. I can't even remember exactly who all did, but I mean, just not even businesses, just people stepped up and gave me stuff. Oh, one more. Timothy Sturgill of Fish On Bait and Tackle.
There's a good friend.
I mean, he's stepped up not just to help me, but he helps a lot of people.
He sure did. That man helped me after Hurricane Ida to replace some of the meat I had lost in my freezer. In fact, I replaced quite a bit of my meat with what he raised at an auction, and I'll be forever grateful for him.
Yeah, he like I say, he helps a lot of people and never asks for anything in return, and is constantly building on a little account to help other people. So,
yeah, I had him on the show to try to say thank you.
Yeah, I watched that. But
yeah, just geez, I'm learning from you guys, man. I'm learning from you guys how to be a nice person.
Just your podcast is helping a lot, so I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate you coming on. I know that you're a busy man, and thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to our listeners here in the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me. Does anybody have any questions?
Rob had another comment. Rob just simply said he's looking forward to another great auction.
Well, that's good. So am I.
So anyways, man, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast. With that, I'm going to wish everybody a great night, and please be safe, guys.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good evening.